Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today we are on lesson 167 of Course in Miracles workbook. Today's lesson is titled, There is One Life, and that I share with God. There are not different kinds of life, for life is like the truth. It does not have degrees. It is the one condition in which all that God created share. Like all his thoughts, it has no opposite. There is no death because what God created shares his life. This is what we've been talking about, that an eternal life business. And then if there's no death, that means there's nothing to fear. There is no fear. There are no opposites. It's the same notion of what is just is. It's just the isness of the is. I know that's a little complicated to understand, but what is has no opposite. It just is. And that is life. So there's nothing to go against that, to contradict it. And God is life. Life is God. And there are no opposites to that. There is no death because an opposite to God does not exist. There is no death because the Father and the Son are one. In this world, there appears to be a state that is life's opposite. You call it death. Yet we have learned that the idea of death takes many forms. It is the idea which underlies all feelings that are not supremely happy. It is the alarm to which you give response of any kind that is not perfect joy. All sorrow, loss, anxiety, and suffering and pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown, acknowledge death, and thus deny you live. I mean, they're even saying a small frown and a little irritation is acknowledging death. Because anything that is not peace, love, joy, kindness, eternal happiness, contentment, is death. And that's pretty extreme, but that's exactly what it is. That means God is telling us there is no excuse, and anything that you find, if you find yourself making an excuse, you are making a choice to choose death over life. But when you can catch yourself, when you are about to start complaining, or that irritation starts to first make its appearance and then grow, if you can just catch it before it really just embodies you, and just say, nope, I'm not going to fall for that. I choose life. And a lot of great teachers out there say when you can turn your back to that and go back, in this course calls it life, other teachers might call it awareness or consciousness. If you can go back to that space, you are not only recentering and calming your nervous system, if you're looking at the physiological aspect of it, even though in this there is no body, but for those still struggling to understand the metaphysics of it and looking beyond the body, it does actually calm your nervous system to get back to center, to get back to consciousness, to pure awareness. That is life. That's what this course is really trying to hone in on, that is life, that is God. And anything opposite of that which is considered death is death. You think that death is of the body, yet it is but an idea, irrelevant to what is seen as physical. A thought is in the mind. It can be then applied as mind directs it. But its origin is where it must be changed if change occurs. Ideas leave not their source. I've never understood that. So many of these Course in Miracle teachers and students alike, they use that, they've read this out loud, They've applied this idea. It's hard for me to grasp. Ideas leave not their source. The emphasis this course has placed on that idea is due to its centrality in our attempts to change your mind about yourself. It is the reason you can heal. So it is really about diminishing the idea of the fact that there is a body, and everything starts and ends in the mind, which is energy. It is the reason you can heal. It is the cause of healing. It is why you cannot die. And this course is saying, regardless of what you think you might see in the physical realm, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The body is not meant to stay forever. And it is actually not the truth, because anything that can change, I got my confirmation. Anything that can change and form, die, decay, wither, move away, disappear, dissolve, whatever, is not the truth. It is not real. So let me repeat that. It is why you cannot die. Its truth established you as one with God. Death is the thought that you are separate from your Creator. It is the belief conditions change. Emotions alternate because of causes you cannot control, you did not make, and you can never change. It is the fixed belief ideas can leave their source and take on qualities the source does not contain, becoming different from their own origin, apart from it in kind as well as distant time and form. So let's go back to ideas leave not their source. The source is God. So thoughts are supposed to remain with God, in God. And any idea apart from God is not truth. And that's how when opposite ideas such as irritation, anger, mistrust, any of those emotions, ideas, thoughts that are not of God, those things are not of God. That's when the separation immediately occurs. When you can make that distinction, see it for what it is, and decide, I'm going to do away with that. I'm throwing that away. I'm out of here. I'm not going in that neighborhood. That is a bad, dark alley. I am not going there. You will immediately rejoin with Source. And your mind will go back to its original, to its source, which is life, which equals God, which equals love and peace and contentment and harmony and connection and lack of separation. Okay. Death cannot come from life. Ideas remain united to their source. They can extend all that their source contains, in that they can go far beyond themselves. But they cannot give birth to what was never given them. As they are made, so will their making be. As they were born, so will they then give birth. And where they come from, there will they return. The mind can think it sleeps, but that is all. It cannot change what is its waking state. It cannot make a body nor abide within a body. What is alien to the mind does not exist because it has no source. You know, these thoughts that we have that are pretty dark, they don't come from anywhere. They don't come from God. If we're all of a sudden fearful, even a simple fear like we're going to be late for a meeting, to a massive fear like something about our future, or how are we going to survive? What am I going to do for retirement? What about my kids? How are they going to survive? The economy is so bad. I mean, those thoughts do not come from God. They come from nothing. And yet we want to hold them up and exalt them like some royal figure, and it doesn't make any sense. For mind creates all things that are and cannot give them attributes it lacks, nor change its own eternal mindful state. It cannot make the physical. What seems to die is but the sign of mind asleep. The opposite of life could only be another form of life. As such, it can be reconciled with what created it because it is not opposite in truth. Its form may change, it may appear to be what it is not, yet mind is mind, awake or sleeping. It is not its opposite in anything created, nor in what it seems to make when it believes it's asleep. God creates only mind awake. So when we create in the dream, it has nothing to do with God. When we are awake and see beyond this world, in the awakened state, in the awakened mind, knowing, feeling, being the awareness which is our creator, God creates in that state. We create in that state. He does not sleep, and his creations cannot share what he gives not, nor make conditions which he does not share with them. The thought of death is not the opposite to thoughts of life. Forever unopposed by opposites of any kind, the thoughts of God remain forever changeless, with the power to extend forever changelessly, but yet within themselves, for they are everywhere. This is a pretty heavy lesson, and one we might need to just reread over and over again to fully digest and comprehend, because it does feel a little bit like a word scramble. But I mean, I've been doing these workbook lessons now for several years, so, and some years it just probably pinged, and at the earlier part of this lesson it was pinging, and right now it's not pinging, but it will. I'm going to reread paragraph 8 once again. God creates only mind awake. He does not sleep, and his creations cannot share what he gives not, nor make conditions which he does not share with them. The thought of death is not the opposite to the thoughts of life. The reason for that is because there is no death. And what are they saying? The opposite of life is another condition of life. Okay, let me go back. Forever unopposed by opposites of any kind, the thoughts of God remain forever changeless. Again, let's go back to the light analogy. Like the bulb is turned on, or the light from the sun. It can never change. It is what it is. Even the sun doesn't know its opposite. It only knows light because it's always shining. It might feel dark in certain parts of the world, but it doesn't mean that the sun has stopped shining. The sun is still shining. It's just the earth has moved. So certain parts of our planet are not receiving that sunshine, but it doesn't mean the sun has stopped shining. There is still light emanating from that huge star we call the sun. So the light from the sun, it just is. It never stops. There's no opposite. There's no opposite. According to the sun, there's no opposite. It just is. It is just light. It will never receive darkness because it's just a brilliant light. And God is trying to explain to us, or Jesus is trying to explain to us, that is all we are. It's just light. There is no opposite. And our mind can play some really funny tricks on us, assuming that there's some opposite, that there's darkness, and God's like, but there's not. You're making a choice to harbor thoughts that don't come from anywhere, certainly not come from God, and that's where we're mistaken. Some people think, oh, this fear is telling me this is from God saying stay away, and it's not. It's not. Okay, let me keep going here. Okay, so again, thoughts of God remain forever changeless, with the power to extend forever changelessly, but yet within themselves, for they are everywhere. The next paragraph, number 9. What seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping. When the mind elects to be what it is not and to assume an alien power which it does not have, a foreign state it cannot enter, or a false condition not within its source. Again, these are all those egoic thoughts that start to creep in. That is not of God. It's not of the source. It merely seems to go to sleep a while. So again, we're talking about being asleep versus being awake. And I guess the opposite of life. For us to understand, opposites is us just asleep. That's it. But in our awakened state, there's no opposite to life. Meaning like death, that none of that exists. It dreams of time, an interval in which what seems to happen never has occurred. The changes wrought are substanceless, and all events are nowhere. When the mind awakes, it but continues as it always was. So again, if you find yourself mentally going down that dark alley with worries, fears, holding on to the past, addicted to the past, and then making the connection with your future, worrying about your future, right? When none of it is happening. The only thing that's happening is the now. When you find yourself going to that dark alley and you catch yourself, you immediately bring yourself right back to awareness, to a consciousness, back to your source. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. That takes practice. This is why we do these lessons. This is why we do the mind training, the practice. You go to the gym, you want to build some muscle, you want to get good at anything, you're practicing, right? Okay, fine. I know there's no body, there's blah, 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 we get that. But in practical terms, from our limited understanding and what we know in this 3G reality, practice does make perfect. And we got to do this. So every time you want to go left, right, up, down, into those dark alleyways, into those dark crevices of our mind, because that's all it is, it's in our mind, stop yourself. Stop yourself. We somehow, when we were young, we thought we were going to get some sort of badge of honor by worrying about shit. And no, it's not good karma to worry about things. We used to think, oh, well, they're not worried about it, but watch their karma get them, because they're not even concerned about it. They think it's just all going to work out and their karma is going to get them, and watch, it's not going to work. No, wrong. We were wrong. We're all wrong. Go back to your source. In every circumstance, go back to your source. Your physical body actually will feel every time you go back to your source. And no, our physical bodies are not going to be here forever. But we can repurpose our physical bodies. And once we start getting good at this, then we want, just like yesterday's lesson was saying, we want to share this with people. Because this is not meant to be a solo journey. You want to share this gift and share it, not to be omnipotent to anybody, to be benevolent. You want to share this so that people heal. And as you are offering healing, you're healing yourself even more. And it really becomes a beautiful joining and gathering when you can do them. There's just like no better feeling than that. There's no better adrenaline rush, no better dopamine hit, no better high than when you feel that connection and that somebody else gets it too. It's just that bing, and it's just there's nothing like it. There's no roller coaster or lottery hit or anything that can create that kind of feeling, because that's lasting. The rest isn't. Okay. Let us today be children of the truth. I love this vernacular of like being childlike, because when you're a child, you don't give a shit about anything. Everything is just curiosity and always expecting good things to happen, not worrying about the future, really being in the present moment, really, going through a discovery and just being so curious and not really worrying about the consequences. And God, Christ wants, Holy Spirit wants us to be childlike about this, not worry about consequences that are not there. Be childlike about this. Let us today be children of the truth and not deny our holy heritage. Our life is not as we imagine it. Who changes life because he shuts his eyes or makes himself what he is not because he sleeps and sees in dreams an opposite to what he is? We will not ask for death in any form today, nor will we let imagined opposites to life abide even in an instant where the thought of life eternal has been set by God himself. His holy home we strive to keep today as he established it and wills it be forever and ever. He is Lord of what we think today. And in his thoughts, which have no opposite, we understand there is one life, and that we share with him with all creation, with their thoughts as well, whom he created in a unity of life that cannot separate in death and leave the source of life from where it came. This is all about remembering your source, going back to your source. You came from source, you are source, go back to it. Every single time you tend to veer. And source is not judging you for veering off, because it's like the sun not judging you for assuming that it's also in charge of darkness. It's not. The sun doesn't move, the sun stays in one spot. But the sun doesn't give a shit what we think about the sun. The sun just continues to gleam bright, just completely shine its brilliant light. It is not judging us for assuming that the sun disappears on us. The sun does not disappear. We disappear on the sun because the earth is moving on its axis. Okay. We share one life because we have one source, a source from which perfection comes to us, remaining always in the holy minds which he created perfect. As we were, so are we now and will forever be. A sleeping mind must waken as it sees its own perfection mirroring the Lord of life. So perfectly it fades into what is reflected there. And now it is no more a mere reflection. It becomes the thing reflected, and the light which makes reflection possible. No vision now is needed. For the wakened mind is one that knows its source, itself, its holiness. This is a great lesson. I feel a little more awake too. I've been struggling with a little jet lag on my travels. It took this long to kind of feel, but I started just doing these lessons and started to not just metaphysically wake up, but really physically wake up. Like the cells of my body, my pain body just started to finally wake up. Really needed this. So I'm glad even though I'm a little not out of order, but I'm not doing this by day. I'm doing this when I can. I think I'm behind, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? At least I'm doing this, and thank God I started doing them again because I started clicking again. Okay, so lesson 161, lesson 167. Oops. There is one life, and that I share with God. Thank you for joining me. If my messages, my videos resonate, please do not hesitate to like, share, subscribe. I want to keep doing this. I want this community to grow. I want to get this message out. Even if my channel doesn't grow, I don't give a shit. At least if one person can say yes, and then possibly share it with another, we are doing our jobs. So again, thank you. Love you. God bless you. Till next lesson. Take care.